Hey guys, welcome back to Nagali Park. This is episode 7, and this is where we left off. I am sorry for the hiatus. That is something that is generally going to happen every once in a while because I need to refill the creativity tank. And the last time that I really pushed to kind of get this park going, I really drained my creativity tank, and that was this area here with the train station and the shops and the skyride here. Oh, you don't see that. That doesn't exist yet. So, and then came the really weird decision to create create a building that doesn't exist on any sort of grid or any sort of logical shape or anything like that. So it took a long time. It turned out beautiful, and I really do enjoy it. But obviously we need to finish up because this back end is completely exposed. I need to fix this whole tunnel segment because the shape of the thing has changed, and it just needs to be polished up. This whole thing needs to be cleaned up and pretty much in the park that I am going off of, which is NigloLand. Take a shot. There is a lot of green when you first enter the gates. So in the real park, there is a kind of Bavarian, almost like castle type entrance. Although there's a budget problem, so it doesn't really look like a castle entrance, but it has elements of a castle. And then what you're greeted with is a triangle of lavender, and then some sort of annual in the middle, some signs. A green belt with some more grass. I mean, it's really low key. It's not what you would think of when you first enter a park, because there is no like info center. There's no, there's not even a place for park maps. Although that might actually be in the building here. I'll have to add that myself. So we don't have that option because my building is not a building. It's just a tunnel. It's a tunnel with some plants on top of it. This is mainly a ticket booth, and then the back area here is really just going to be additional building space. Probably not offices or anything like that. That is more over here. The park offices and such are over here. So I guess the plan will be to emulate as best I can this idea of NigloLand. Did I accidentally... I must have broken something. Hold on. Oh, yeah, I did. Whoopsie. Because I'm going to have this really old school building right here that kind of fits but doesn't really. And what I really want to achieve is the fact that this very highly themed entrance, if you look at from back here, is going to look very industrial and budgeted. So this roof, I think... I was originally going to make it spin all the way around, but when you look at it from peep view, pretty much this ridge right here is all that you need to convey the effect. So in the interest of saving money, I think we're just going to end the roof right there, and also a little bit of my sanity. So here we are in the first update. I have fixed this sort of tunnel area, which was, it was a pain, because I had to reorient this whole tunnel sequence under here, and yeah. So I've lifted that green cover for just for now, just so that I could actually work on it, but it will go back down. There we go. And I've got this lovely gentleman actually working on the green arch right now. I kind of like having a little frame of reference and to see that, yeah, it's really not that big if you look at the size of the person next to it. I also worked on this roof a little bit more. This is the biggest pain. I hope I never have to do custom roofs again, because oh my god. And then in addition, I also started working on the terraforming a little bit, and got this kind of green belt, tree line. Yeah, tree line is the correct term, which is composed of a lot of evergreens, some deciduous, some big round things in the back, and then a lot of these junipers in the front. I think it conveys the same kind of feel when you walk into NigloLand, which is just pretty much a little bit of hedging here with some lavender and some other sort of shrub, and then a big grass lawn. All right, the roof is finally done. That is something I never want to have to touch again. I also kind of completed this side of the building a little bit. You can see that it will have a bit of a themed kind of some wood and stuff like that, and it shares the same color as the rest of the building. But then it turns to pure white because why not? It's never going to be seen, although it probably might be seen from back here. But it doesn't really matter. There'll be fencing, there'll be some foliage and stuff like that. And really, only the train's going to see it. And the train is fine because sometimes the train runs by some of the worst areas and parks, and it just kind of grounds you a little bit. So you know that you're in the themed area for much of the park, but then sometimes you see kind of that outside look. Alright, now we're starting to make some real progress. So I decided... this is again not part of NigloLand in particular, but I thought it would be cool when you first enter the gates here, is that you're greeted with this giant metal rusted sculpture of dandelion seeds. They're fairly easy to make, and so I was just like, oh well. I think it looks really cool. I think it'd be something that a park would invest in, especially a park like this that is trying to be a little bit more. Its mission statement is trying to be a little bit more plant focused, and if we're talking about pollination and the dispersion of dandelions, they are actually one of the most important sources of food for bees. Because they bloom so early, and so when nothing else is in bloom, especially trees, dandelions keep the flow of nectar. So I thought that was important to kind of have in there. It's not always designed here at in Planet Coaster. Sometimes it's just facts. Here is that aforementioned kind of stroller building. Kind of taking the same vein of the entrance to NigloLand. I wanted it to feel very, very, not necessarily industrial. What I wanted it to feel like is that it's existing. It's something that was already here before this new entrance kind of changed. So it should feel like that was the original entrance style, which was a kind of batten board, musty, gross style. Over here, I've got some fun little trellises, and then this was the thing that I was talking about, where even though it's a rectangle and it's not curvilinear or anything like that, it still caps off the backside of the building pretty well. You can tell that it's transitioning, but it's not so jarring as if it was to put something like this white wall in. And then over here, I've got this building, which is eventually going to be the sweets shop, but I just wanted to plop it in for scale and size. And originally I had it much bigger. I almost had like a castle turret, and then again I checked my source material, and no, it's nowhere near that. In fact, this building is way too large even as is, just because of the size of the pieces. It should be much shorter by about probably like that, and then probably about 3/4 of the size, 75% I think. We'll see. It'll all be custom, but for now, it just kind of gives you a little bit of a focal point. As you're entering the park, you see this beautiful sculpture, and then you're like, ooh, I want to buy some candy. Or something. I don't know. The park is weird. I think I forgot to mention this earlier on, but this whole face was completed pretty early on in the process. And it was a bear. But it looks really good. I think once I start adding some green material, some trees and stuff, I think this will blend in really nicely. Alright, connecting the front to the back a little bit. I've got some of the same coloration in this kind of triangular bed. It's supposed to be more of a triangle, but plan copath's gonna plan copath, and this is this is the least frustrating iteration that I came up with, which is a pentagonal type bed. A very strange pentagonal type bed, though. Over here, I was getting the feeling that a little bit too much was being shown off, so I wanted it to feel like this curve. If you actually look at it from here, this curve comes up, comes down, and in reality, it goes back this way. But what I wanted it to feel like when you're kind of looking at it is that there's this continuation line that goes whoop whoop. So it goes up and down and then up and over, and it just feels right. Even though it's a different color, even though it's a different material, and what it would be is they knew that they had to have a wall, and so they had something in their plans, in their design, and it wasn't working out, so they added this on last minute. That's what it's supposed to feel like, but all together, the lines really look quite good. So you have this, like I said, continuation line here, and then you've got that line from the ticket booth before. Add a nice little tree here. It's not too large, so it's still fairly young. Kind of gives us a nice fresh look. And then this, I thought this was pretty clever too. Having some sort of stepladder in here so that you can actually access this side of the green arch. And then over here, I also wanted to have this collapsible ladder that he is using to get to work on the green arch. Little narrative details like that I quite enjoy. Also included a HVAC unit on here. I believe Fog was the one that came up with this original pack. It's a workshop item. No TMTK. It's very, very old. But it works really well, and I quite like it there. And then a little bit of a loading dock here. I'm not sure exactly what you'd be loading in, but I figured a garage door would be appropriate in case they need to load in some sort of pallet of boxes or something like that for stationery or just office paper or something like that. And then a access door there. And then this whole back area got plastered. So the roof line now is clean. And so when you look at it from back here, it looks very much like the industrial look that I wanted. And then when you flip it around, it's quite different. And it all just sort of blends away. You don't really see any of the other more industrial buildings. It just kind of works. These trees can be found in my workshop pack, N7's custom trees. This one is considered the hawthorn, and then this one is considered the windswept pine, I think. Here we are. It always is a huge jump from the last hour. When you start adding all the details and stuff like that, it just becomes more complete. This is the entrance area. This part of the entrance will be done in another episode. I still have to clean up some of this area. This is going to be a tower of some kind. I don't really know what it does in NigloLand, but it is there, and I quite like it, so we're going to have it. But when you first enter the gates, let me get down here. You go through, and woo, it's just quite nice when you first come through. It's not really hitting you with anything. You don't even see any attractions except for maybe the train. And that's kind of how I wanted it. When you first enter NigloLand, you really don't see anything. You just kind of traverse towards the path because that's the only way that you can go. But there is this access point here, and it opens up once the park kind of closes for the day. This will actually be connected to the back side of the park here. You can get your strollers here. I also put in some pip shot because what I wanted it to look like is that stroller rental wasn't really being a huge moneymaker, so they ended up storing some of the park's unused carts and stuff like that. Over here, I added a little bit more of an ornate backstage gate so that anybody that is on stage can get to backstage pretty easily. And also, it obscures that look a little bit, which helps because you don't really want to see into the backstage part of the park. Nice little organic planters here. I ended up using some stone edging for that one, different edging for this one, and a different edging for this one, just to really make it kind of pop. I also liked the stability of the color scheme. This tree has a little bit more of that chartreuse, so I wanted it to be replicated here, which is also replicated over here, which is very much what NigloLand looks like when you first come in. It has these kind of chartreuse bushes and then lavender. Chartreuse bush, lavender. So I wanted to repeat that pattern to make it look especially like the source material. But then also bring it over here so that it feels united. And so even though there is a lot of color going on, it still feels kind of restrained, which is what I wanted. I just really like the way that this whole thing turned out. It's a little manicured, and that's okay because there aren't going to be very many places like this, and why not the entrance, especially when we look at how much the whole park kind of comes together. This whole new entrance area should feel united, and I think it does. Alright, well I think that about does it. If you liked what you saw today, you know what to do. And when is the next episode of this park going to be? Well, let's have a tough talk. I'm not done with Planet Coaster, and I'm not done with this park. But we can't ignore the fact that a fairly large game is about to drop in about 4 days. And part of doing this is gaining a new audience, gaining some new eyes, and I'm gonna be working on some new stuff in that game. My series is gonna be called Planet Botanic, and it is going to be largely a botanical garden with exceptional design, and also try to keep within the correct climates and stuff like that as best as the game will allow. Not a whole lot in terms of animals, but there will be a few exhibits, but mostly it's going to be modeled after the impressive Huntington Library in Pasadena, California. And it's I'm really excited about it because this park is basically, I mean, this is a precursor to what you're going to see. You're going to see a lot of really cool gardening, and just really cool design in general. But it's gonna eat into this park's time, and in general Planet Coaster's time, because it is the new shiny thing, and we all have to play with the new shiny thing. As you know, if you follow this and Mass Bandit's channel, Planet Bro Coaster is coming back with Season Zoo, and there we are going to be working on a hybrid zoo that is based off of Lincoln Park Zoo in Chicago. And the cool thing about it is that it is a public zoo. It's in this really cool public park, and the things that we have decided to try on it, the way that we're going to be doing exhibits and stuff like that, I'm really excited to get going, because I think it's going to be a kick in the pants for creativity. Right now, my work schedule is pretty light, and so I expect to go with at least 2 videos a week, starting when Zoo drops. And so there should be a lot more content on this channel, at least in the winter, because there's nothing to do. um, so with that, I guess I will bid you farewell. I don't know exactly when we'll be back, but I'm sure the next time that we're going to be working on this, which is the sweets shop, this little transitional area here, and then also I would like to get the Asian area kind of worked out here, because there are some things. There are some things that I have been working on. I just tried to not show you that. But there is some cleanup to do here before I can call this done and ready to go. So I hope you join me for new adventures, as well as the next episode of this park. And I hope you have a great day. See you later, guys. Bye.